Welcome, viewers. This is the Treasures of Life show, your home of energy. My name is Jonas Simba. My sign language interpreter is Irene Chebiwot. I have a guest, but before I introduce the guest, are you following this show? Are you giving your feedback? Let me encourage you. Get hold of your phone, write a message on 0111980384. I have a TikTok handle, Blind Jonas Simba. Just get in there, see what I've put there from the leaders around. I'm also trying to be a bit, social media savvy. Yeah, I'm trying to be that tech. So get in there, follow me. You can follow me also on my Facebook. Send me a friend's request if you can, Blind Jonas Simba, and let's keep chatting. I'll do my best to get in touch with you. But for this show, you can write your message on 0111980384. We are talking about an interesting topic today, and that is why I brought somebody that you may have seen before on this show, a young person. Hey, Mambo. Uko bie?
Niko bie.
Uko fiti?
Niko strong.
Brian Madenge, Social Justice Centers, especially the Madare Social Justice Center. He is here with us today to talk about an interesting topic, how to celebrate. Brian.
Yes.
Tell me, do you need to be coached on how to celebrate?
Well, I don't think so. I think
Yes.
celebration, first and foremost, thank you very much for inviting me to this show.
Yes.
I think different environment, but still the same spirit.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think,
you were in politics.
Yeah, but well,
No,
yeah,
bro-
this is an interesting
I
one.
also brought your colleague, Marianne. I brought her to this energy show, and she did well.
Yes, very well.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the question of celebration is, depends on the timing, the conditions themselves, and what you have at the moment.
Yeah.
At that moment. So I think celebration should not be limited to material limitations.
Okay.
It should not be limited to it should not be limited to professionalism or what you know. I think it's an expression that just needs to it's an expression that just expresses itself naturally.
Before we go into the issues of the family and the nation and all that,
Yeah.
you've just mentioned something interesting, that celebration should not be limited to material things. And truth be told, economically, are we doing well as a country? There's a challenge.
There's
So
an imminent
how do
challenge.
people celebrate without monies in the pocket?
Yeah.
Because that in itself, many of us, just before we start celebrating anything, we have the feeling of lack. We have that feeling of lack. I need money to celebrate. So what am I going to celebrate?
I think one is that one very clear thing is that we celebrate events, we
Okay.
celebrate processes, and also we celebrate achievements, including personal achievements.
Right.
But on the larger scale, as you mentioned, it is a paradoxical experience because
Right.
at the same time, celebration is also limited to is also limited according to what you have.
Right.
And but in terms of general celebration, I think the limitations that come with material something, because we celebrate events, we celebrate people, we celebrate our achievements, even our little achievements. But as you mentioned, economically we are doing poor, and I think that one, on the larger scale, I think it is an exposition of even what we are experiencing. Cases of depression, cases
Oh
of
my.
suicide, cases because I think first and foremost, the primary thing is the economic wellness.
Yeah.
And I think if at all we can control our economic wellness
Yeah.
away from the subjugation that I think the system comes up with, and instead of even dealing with questions of depression, questions these cases of suicide,
Yeah.
cases of cases of homicide, cases of depression,
Despair.
and cases of drugs and despair.
Yeah.
Instead of the state coming up with a systematic solution towards addressing such matters, they tend to throw these people into the dungeons of of hopelessness by probably blaming other factors like drugs, exposure to drugs and such. But the most primary matter, I think, is the economic wellness or the material realities of our people, and especially
Can
the
you
youth.
celebrate without money?
You can, because as I mentioned, you can, because it depends on what kind of celebration you are aiming at, or what
Okay.
kind of celebration you want to espouse.
Give me an example of one type of celebration that you won't use money and how you can go about it.
Yeah, I think it depends also with the parameters, because at the same time, probably you have what you are celebrating an event.
Okay.
Probably a graduation or something. You just have to you just have to mingle, or to hang
So
out.
you use
to
human
hang out,
resource.
to hang out with friends or
That
something.
is now using the
you're
human
using human
resource.
resource, but it is not enough. For instance, I'm looking into it like at an experience or a situation where you
Right.
where you need to celebrate your newborn. Without money, and they also need they are also expecting from you. It
Yeah.
becomes very, very difficult. And so limitations of material limitations are also a very primary factor in terms of what kind of celebration we need to celebrate. But I think there are other forms of organic celebrations that we have witnessed even before.
Yeah.
Like for instance, a certain faction of a certain political faction
Okay.
celebrating the win of their candidate or something. They
Okay.
happen very organically within the community, and of course with what
Spontaneous, right?
yeah.
Now, there is actually an incident of, we are now heading towards the festive season. And for some reason, many people in the cities, Nairobi, Nakuru, Eldoret, Kisumu, Mombasa, they now travel up country to meet for those who are still lucky to have their parents alive. That's when they go to see their grannies. And many of these grannies keep claiming they don't need the money. All they want is the children, the grandchildren around. I don't know what you have to say about that, because for them, the satisfaction is in just that family gathering. Is that also a form of celebration?
Yeah, indeed. It is one form of celebration. And I think this kind of celebration, just to mention, Simba, is that they take a certain form that, is not really isolated from the realities of our society or the realities of our community.
Yeah.
So I think even in the form of that gathering, of that communal being, is
Yeah.
a form of celebration. And
Just
I think
eating
they
together.
are eating together and having. But
Yeah.
you remember,
Laughing together.
yeah. But you don't forget that even without that money or that material muscle,
Yeah.
there'll not be that food or even that gathering itself.
Oh, but
So I
at
think
least up country, someone can bring, some viazi from the farm.
yeah,
and
but
some
well,
chicken.
there's
always
there's
chicken.
an aura. Yeah, there's always chicken, but there's an aura with celebration, especially with because you will not celebrate when poverty is under glaring poverty.
Okay.
It is very, very difficult. Even at times when we say we are celebrating the lives of our lost ones, it becomes very difficult to even celebrate or even give them a life of dignity without that material prowess.
Or you mean a send-off?
Yeah, even a send off,
Okay.
celebrating life of our departed ones.
Yeah,
So the African traditional way of gathering, through because it is intricate in the
Yeah.
African society that that when people gather, there is a form of happiness, or it espouses a form of joy.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you know that joy is also limited to what you mentioned. So
right.
and of course there is that fulfillment that comes with you know with the socializing or you know gathering or coming together.
It is said that countries in the Scandinavian are very happy. You know, the likes of Denmark and Sweden and Norway. It is said people in those countries are very happy. Happiness index, in your opinion, does it depend on health? Does it depend on education? What is it that creates that happiness index, especially during a celebration season?
I think it's contentment.
Contentment.
Yeah,
Wow.
that fulfillment of
With the little you have.
yeah, the little we have, I think that is yeah. But if you look even economically and even politically, if you compare Kenya or even East Africa with these Scandinavian countries, they have a form of government that allows that happiness to be prevalent in their society.
Okay.
Because I think most of their needs, most of their human needs. Is catered for through that kind of social democracy, as compared to the kind of democracy that we experience in Kenya.
Yeah,
even
it's
in
been
East
a
Africa.
minute, especially in the region.
Yeah,
look
especially
at
in the region.
Tanzania.
Yeah, look at Tanzania.
Look at Uganda.
Yeah,
Look at Kenya.
Yeah,
You
and,
know, it's been a minute for the youth.
and you know, it's a reflection. The ideals or the ideology of the government in place also, you know, it also reflects upon the kind of society that they produce, because the kind of the society is a product of the society is a product of certain of a certain you know systemic you know of a certain systemic outline.
Yeah.
So I mean, if a government, if a system, let's say a system, if a system is based upon the foundations of betrayal, foundations of marginalization or tribalism, you know, the society that produces there is a society of misery, is a divided society, and a society that is not happy.
You know, it is amazing that during such a celebration season, are we in those 16 days of activism?
Yes.
There is a day for persons with disabilities.
Yeah.
That is 3rd December. It is amazing that this is a secret that some countries in the West discovered, even in the Asian, in the Asian continent. They discovered, and of course someone can correct me whether I'm right in my opinion, that during any kind of celebration, you reach out to the needy. That makes you very satisfied. If you go to a community of persons with disabilities, or nyumba ya wazee, where the old are, or orphans, and you give them something and you see the smiles on their faces, that makes you very satisfied. Is that so?
Yeah, that is so, and yeah, I think it's the real, it's the, you know, I think yeah, it's evident, it's the real thing that is happening. But I think it should not be so, and I think the fulfillment that comes with that is because in most cases, most of these people are abandoned. Or you know, there is no much talk or much focus on you know, especially those people with such needs. And you know, so you know, it becomes you know, it becomes a celebratory thing once you know, it looks like.
I saw some people last year visiting prisons. I actually visited a prison, by the way. I visited one of the prisons in Western Kenya with a team of friends. And we were confined in a hall to speak to them. Of course, we were talking things that are religious. Then they made a request. Guess what the request was?
Yes.
On Christmas Day, visitors again with bread. They just said, usisahau mkate. Do you know we made sure we have enough bread for them?
Really?
They just wanted bread.
Yeah.
And that made them, when we said we will bring, all the prisoners in that prison really clapped, and it was a celebration. It's amazing. You can change the story just by a piece of bread.
Yeah, do a piece of bread. But I think, you know, that one is a reflection of the kind of treatment that, you know, they are going through. And, you know, you know, just a bread, you know, is something that, you know, probably will, you know, you know, would, you know, probably change their, you know, you know, their feeling. So, that one just a
It
piece
means
of
they're deprived of bread.
yeah, it means there is a kind of deprivation that happens, and that is what I'm saying. That it's unfortunate that we think of these people whenever there is a national celebration or a national day that is set for them. So I think it's something that we should try
Focus
to
on.
promote and focus on, especially on changing the status quo.
By the way, Brian, is there a day for women during these 16 days of activism?
Yeah,
There's a day for women?
Yeah, there's a day for women, and there's a day
For
for
the
human
child.
rights. For
What would you do
Human
to
Rights Day.
women? What would you do to women? Or how to celebrate with women? As young people, how do you celebrate with women to make them also be part of the celebration?
I think the greatest thing that probably the societies should do is
Right.
the realization, the consciousness that a society is built. The backbone of the development of a society lies within the auspices of the women.
Right.
And women hold a half of the sky for us. So I think just that realization and the consciousness, especially within the male species,
Yeah.
that the liberation of women cannot happen. The liberation of society cannot happen when the women are still held under the yoke of patriarchy or domination.
Yeah,
That consciousness is something that I will urge in course of the 16 days of activism, that if that realization that even women oppression is a system, is a product of the systemic hegemony, that domination is something that would go a long way, especially in the protection
And when you speak of
women.
oppression, sorry for cutting you short, when you talk of oppression, one thing I know about oppression is that it's very sensitive to strength. Whenever there is strength, whenever there is a rising up of some people, then oppression gets very sensitive. You want to be confined where you are. I'm almost going the religious way and talking of the anointing, because oppression is very sensitive to anointing, or oppression is very sensitive to women that are rising, or a youth that seems to be focused. Oppression will always hit hard to confine them to that place. It's very interesting that last festive season, I happened to watch my news on TV, and I saw mothers in some corner playing football with their sons. That was one of the events that was organized. I don't know whether that was around Ngong, but there was a place where women organized football with sons. Innovative ideas for the celebrative season, especially for women.
Yeah, I think apart from the family basis, I think women also have to they're expected, of course, because they bear the hardest blunt, to participate in both production and the cost of reproduction.
Yeah.
So I think that celebratory moment in advanced societies, I think it has been, they have an interesting way of exempting the woman from domestic, these domestic responsibilities.
Actually, on Christmas Day, many of them, rather than being on the table eating and celebrating, they're in the kitchen.
Yeah, they're in the kitchen.
Cooking for everybody.
In this celebration,
everyone is they are sweating in the kitchen, cooking.
Yeah, cooking and of course organizing everything.
And yet they're the social
and it
engineers.
happens in every party. Yeah, so
so how do you deal with that? Maybe cook a day before.
No,
Maybe plan for
I
the
think
day.
it's,
Let's say you're cooking chapatis or you're cooking those major meals that people could cook during festivities. If you're able, cook a day before. Or what do you think?
That one is an option, but I think it's not very practical because people will still need warm food at the end of the day or something.
Yeah.
And so I think as I was narrating is that in advanced societies, they have found a way of liberating the woman from being held by domestic responsibilities in a way that they have socialized their societies, and they have also included the woman mostly in the works of production and of course the works of technology. where you find that instead of the woman every time going to the laundry to
Okay.
that they have set up, like for instance in the USSR.
Yeah.
Then they had installed washing machines in every apartment
Oh,
to make sure
okay.
that the woman does not get stuck in the works of laundry and something.
Washing, yeah.
In the works
That
of
takes
washing.
a lot of time in the women around this country.
Yeah, that also
Yeah.
takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Also, they socialized their societies in such a way that they had
Yeah.
communal kitchens.
Uh-huh.
They had communal kitchens, so it doesn't, it doesn't have, it doesn't have to be, the woman doesn't have to be there so that, we can cook. We
Okay.
can just come communally in a community kitchen and cook ourselves.
And of course, there's something else that is going to raise its ugly head before we talk about the child in this festive season.
Yeah.
The issue of abuse. We are going to have domestic violence. Goes without say, right? During this season, you find there is a lot of tension in relationships. Yeah, and as a result, violence. And many times there are causes, including poverty, lack, and want amongst the men. And yet the woman wants dressing, the children are pressurizing. So the man resorts to violence. In a minute before we go for break. Don't you think so?
Yeah, that is prevalent, especially in the kind of society that we are in.
Yeah.
It is a society that has, it is a society that harbors
Right.
oppression of one sex by the other. Just that, as it oversees oppression of one race by the other. So it's a system of domination, and until we realize this,
Yeah.
the woman will still be held under the under the grip of patriarchy.
But if
of
you
which-
destroy the man with poverty, how will there be peace?
That's what I'm saying. It's systematic because I think it places the man under a point of providence, and if they don't have providence, they resort to violence. Why? Because the system allows violence
Let's hold it there.
against the opposite sex.
Can you believe it? I'm getting energized as I chat with Brian Maithenge here and Irene Chebiwot, the sign language interpreter. These young people are just energizing me in studio. So get the energy, get the passion. Have you lost your passion for life? If you've lost it, just regain it in this show. Gain back your aggressiveness on 0111980384. Send us a message. What is it that saps your energy? Is it relationships? Young people, are you in a relationship that is broken, that is not going well? Brian Maithenge is here to just energize you. Brian, come on. Let me talk about celebrating yourself.
Yeah.
We have killings amongst young people in terms of relationships. What do you say about young people in broken relationships? I hear songs amongst you people, utagongewa. What does that mean? That kugongewa thing. It means someone going away with your girl or something.
Yeah.
And that brings a lot of depression and despair when people take away. Are we getting it wrong? When is it the right time? Maybe we need to tell people mwanze kitu mkiwa 26, 21. What do you have to say?
Yeah, pia nafikiria tumekuwa pia na a change, a shift, a radical shift.
Yes.
In terms of relationships, especially among the young people. Kwa sababu pia the society keeps changing, the dynamics keep changing.
Yeah.
At the height of it, pia the economic struggle, that has hit the young people.
Yeah.
With unemployment, with the high degree of unemployment, the high cost of living too.
Yeah.
So the expectations, because when especially during that transitionary period,
Yeah.
when you're transitioning from late teenagehood to it's
Something
midlife.
like a teenage crisis.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
some kind of teenage crisis.
Yeah, that transition also
Yeah.
is also something that takes toll among the young people, because it's that time that you have very high expectations
Unataka
about life.
kudunga, hauna
Unataka
do.
kudunga, unataka unaona life ni
Unanyang'anywa na watu wenye wazae wenye wana magari.
yeah,
You
vitu
know,
kama
that
hizo.
kind
So,
of thing.
yeah, and so all of these
Yeah.
appears in a reflect kwa relationship.
Yeah.
kwa sababu ni vitu pia hamkukuwa mmeziuvasi.
But honestly, Brian, sorry, I'm speaking so much.
No, it's
I hope I'm taking Irene Chebiwott vizuri. When I interrupt you, she has a problem interpreting, but I'll do my best ni hold horse mpaka umalize.
Okay.
But just a question. This era, our young girls, are they not so smart? You know, what do you have to say, especially historia, young girls falling for older men because of materialism? I think we are getting into an era where the young girls are getting smarter. They are not really falling into that trap. Or am I speaking my own stuff? And then young men, Ben 10, falling for older women and all that. This celebration season, is it because of materialism, or are you seeing like hatujaingia huko? This generation of yours, mtapona hiyo story ama nini?
I think naweza iangalia in two dimensions. That one, there is, as I said, kuna hiyo radical shift. Kikuja ni story na love affairs.
Yeah.
Kwa sababu, how I look it ni, ya kwanza, there is a genuine, ya kwanza is that we cannot dismiss that kuna pia existence of genuine love even within the age differences. So kuna wale ambao kweli ni genuine love, na pia I don't think it's a new issue kwa sababu I think there was a while ago tulikuwa tunaongea kuhusu Wamboi. Wamboi Otieno some years ago. So it's not a new thing, but secondly, as you mentioned, there is also that factor, that material factor. And I think wanaona the only way out, I think, is just getting some source of money where. Even when it comes to, it's that source of money, there must be something, kwa sababu too, I don't think it's just last and it's done.
Brian, does celebration season have to go with alcoholism, drinking in excess? Does it really have to? I'm talking of alcoholism, addictions, indulgences. Of course, I'm not talking about the moderate drinker. Is there a season without over-drinking, for lack of a better word?
Now I don't think so. But I mean, but they talk about alcohol and all these, these substances are social. They are like, we can consider them as social drugs. So they only happen when, people have gathered and, we have a social interaction. I think that is when they happen. But I think it is also very important that we differentiate between indulgence, like you said, moderate drinking, especially when, during parties or occasionally, and the question of addiction or, the question of addiction and drugs. Because the question of addiction is a systemic challenge. And, if you can, if you observe keenly, you will realize that, most of the affected people are the youth.
In January, we would be having new addicts. That goes without saying. It's like the youth are broke. That's what they say. But for some reason, I don't know where money comes. I don't know whether it's from the older folk or from where, that they overindulge. And in January, we are treating new addicts. We have new patients to rehabilitate. We have people who've gotten into new infections, including HIV, sexually transmitted diseases. We have people who have literally gotten to points of suicide. In January, what do you have to say? Celebration, indulgences. That's a very confusing question to you. But really, does this explain why the young person right now is stressed, looking for money? How will I celebrate? We're having crime, crime rates going high because they have to look for money to do all this. Am I right? Right. And really, what can be done, Brian? What can be done? Today nimekuweza.
Yeah,
Hey,
but-
nimekuweza. I'm a happy guy.
Yeah,
I always ask you questions and you're back. Today I've asked you questions and you don't know what to say. I'm a happy
especially
guy.
now that it hits my it hits my age.
Yes,
my
your
bracket
age and your
such.
age.
So now,
Yes.
I think first and foremost ni kwamba
Yeah.
an introspection of where someone is coming from, and an introspection of where we are at and where we
Yeah.
want to go is something that needs to linger in the minds of young people, because that is when they are most active.
Yeah.
And on the question of overindulgence, well, their pockets are still dry. I think in life you'll still get, you'll still get,
Networks.
you'll still get network of how to find it if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to. And so overindulgence, I think, even when there is no partying or when there is partying, I think overindulgence is a signal. It is,
Okay.
it is a signal of a problem, of an underlying problem.
Right.
Either distress, either a person is depressed, either they have stress, they have that traumatic, experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if especially during overindulgence, it shows an underlying issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a day for the child. In these 16 days of activism, there must be something directed towards the child. But let me ask you a question. What is the place of parenting? Because, house parties just for children. Are you advocating that? Where you find it's only teenagers, they say parents, mwende mjipe shughuli. Then it's only young people in an estate somewhere, closed in a house, and they're having their fun. Do you advocate for that? Under 18, below age. Sisi tumekuja watoto sijua kutoka. I remember there was a case in Bungoma where watoto wa high school, whether you are from Lugulu High, Kakamega High, Musingu High, as long as you are from around Western, wanakutana peke yao, and then they tell the parents bye-bye ni yetu. And the parents obey, na wanaenda wanawaachia. Of course, there were stories of pregnancies and all that after that. I don't know if you are for this thing. House parties for teenagers.
Well, first is we should acknowledge that every age bracket has its own modalities, or its own modus operandi on how they do things. But for teenagers and for children, I think if for adulthood there can be some regulations on policy, then I think such also need to apply to the children, because I think a while ago the children used to belong to the society.
Yes.
And like now, where they look like commodities belonging to a certain household. So I think such measures, especially within the societies, they need to be to be there and applied. For the teenagers, I think they can have their own ways of fun, but I don't advocate really for these closed or indoor parties where teenagers are exposed
No
to
parent at
where there is no parental control, or where there is no form of responsibility. And so I think that one can expose the teenagers to a lot of harm, because it is at that age that they want to experience a lot. But I think
You know
I
what
will
they normally
advocate-
say?
Yeah.
Wazae mkikuja mnabo. That's what they say. They want their own thing.
Yeah, I think it's okay. They should have their own time and their own their own time to their own time to interact. But I think it should be controlled. But my insistence is that it should be controlled, and I also don't advocate really for these indoor parties. I think for the teenagers and children, it is it is more serene, or even it is more serene if they interact in the open or in the public.
With some parents.
With some parents, of course.
Absolutely.
Because,
This is strictly for the under 18s.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're above 18, we
I think
assume you're an
I think
adult.
it's not a finality, because I think we still need to work on the social fabrics for society. But I think in the meantime it can be among the it can be part of the path that we pursue towards attaining that society that is safe for both the child and the teenager.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at the young person in the region, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, and beyond. You're looking at Cameroon and maybe other nations that are far. It's been a minute for the young person. Now, this celebration season, many have despaired. How do you love yourself as a young person? How do you celebrate yourself? You know, there are issues that is facing the young person. The young person now is almost like the enemy of the society. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You come around leaderships and you're scared. You know, you're a young person, they think of you as erratic. You are just rebellious, especially without a cause. By the way, Wazae, imagine the youth are rebellious without a cause. They don't take you seriously. They just don't take you seriously. Have you ever tried to repair something and you placed it in the hands of a wrong fundi? Oh my. It's like anakufanyia kazi ya madharau. It's almost like the young people of this continent wako mikononi mwa madharau. They're being handled with a lot of madharau. How do they celebrate themselves? Just tell them.
Yeah, I think that one is goes much into the realization of a person or what worth you are, because I think if you are alive, then it means you have a purpose, and that purpose should be a driving force. And I think the realization that the society needs you, despite what is going on, or if life is not working. Believe me, there is a portion of society that really requires you, and without you, I think it's it cannot be complete. So I think if you hold yourself in high regard, that without you the puzzle will not be complete, then that I think is the first step towards that self-realization.
Yeah.
Your worth and what you want to achieve in life. And I think even despite the hardships and the economic turmoil and the political turmoils that we might be going on as a region, that one, I think it gives us even the opportunity to serve even higher and even more. And and even more. And I think as those who came before us say that every generation has a mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a mission. So I think
and it defines its heroes.
Yeah, it defines its heroes. So I think these are our defining moments. And yeah, I think mine is just to give strength and to give solidarity and with all that is happening, to just assure the young people and especially with in this course of celebratory period that we have a task that has been endowed on our shoulders. So we have to overcome all that we overcome what we are going through triumphantly. Yeah.
There is talk from the leadership of this country of making Kenya a first world country. One of the things that goes with the first world nation is the agility of the youth. You go around the first world youth, be in a city, for example, like Paris, yeah, or Real Madrid in Spain, or New York, or some of these first world countries. You see some kind of confidence in the youth because they believe in their country, they believe in their leadership. Many of them believe in their fathers and their mothers. And it gives them a lot of confidence. Are you seeing this kind of confidence amongst the youth in this country? As we hope and pray to be a first world country, feelings of imperfections. You find young people feeling they're imperfect. I don't know what you have to say about that. Are they perfect in their imperfection? Is there something that they need to be a first world youth? Take it.
Yeah, I think the youth of this country have all it takes, for them to make a society, to make a different society.
Yeah.
Even a better society than the so-called first world countries. But the only impediments that remains, that the only impediment that exists between them and that realization, that actualization, is the fact that the state or political power is hijacked by by a few who by a few who think that they can control both the political and economic the foundations of this country. So in a way they run a criminal regime of plunder, of destitution,
Okay.
and of impoverishment, and they do it systematically so that the youth cannot rise up.
Okay.
If we reflect
You're
on
speaking
the
of oppression.
of oppression and exploitation, even within the economic scales and the scales of labor.
Okay.
And just to mention that the demonstration of the activities of June 25th last year,
Okay.
and and even spilling over to this year, is an exposition. It is a real it is a real expression.
Okay.
Or a reflection of the agility, of the confidence, the courage that the young people of this country are willing to, put even even at the expense of their lives, to change, to change this country, not only for them but for the whole society. So I think that confidence, that determination,
Yeah.
that we saw in the streets, and we have been seeing all through.
Yeah.
It means persistent. It means that they have refused to
Okay.
be associated with political processes, and they have said that they are political, and they are willing to change this country even for the better.
I don't know the place of the church. What do you have to say about the place of the religious sector, the mosques?
It stands at a significant point, and especially at this point, where the society seems to stand at crossroads.
Yeah.
They don't know, and we really need also a redefinition of how we look at society.
Okay.
Between the church, the society, and the state. I think that we need to have a difference there, and of course, see the role of the church,
So
especially in
they should
setting
provide
up
places
morals.
for people to celebrate.
The church,
Yeah,
of
I
course,
mean,
that
for young people.
yeah, for young people, they should also allow the environment, for the young people to express themselves freely.
Okay.
Without being held back by the fetters of religious, religious bigotry or something.
Oh, okay. Now you've just hit me with English. When you speak of bigotry, I remember someone telling me not to preempt bigotry. I'm still trying to learn what that means. Anyway, wow, how to celebrate this season? We are with Brian Madenge. We are coming to a close of this show. You're out there as a young person. Give us your views, 011980384. How do you intend to celebrate yourself? You're perfect in your imperfection, right, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially those who think that they are too black, too plump, so poor, and all that. It's your right. Even the poor have a right to be happy, by the way. Did you know that, Brian?
Yeah.
Even the poor have a right to celebrate this season. So find some place to celebrate yourself, celebrate the nation. Yeah, we have to celebrate the country. Do you agree?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and celebrate just who you are. And remember, the best way to celebrate is to share with somebody. If you can reach out to someone who is down and encourage them this season, give them a cloth, food, water, whatever, visit the prisoners or visit the orphan. Do something that will make you strong as a youth. Come together, do these things together. Brian, we are done, believe it or not.
Great.
We are done.
Great.
So thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you next week on the Treasures of Life show. My name is Jonas Simba. Irene Chebiwot has been our sign language interpreter. Bye-bye.